Imagine this. You're walking down a rain-soaked street in the heart of Port Harcourt, the kind of downpour that turns the world into a blurry watercolor painting. The air is thick with the scent of wet earth and distant thunder rumbles like a warning from the gods. Suddenly, you catch a whiff of something overpowering, a mix of expensive cologne and something rotten underneath, like a secret that's been buried too long. That's how it all began for me, or at least that's the hook that pulls you into the tale of Emeka Okoro, the dirtiest billionaire Nigeria ever knew. But wait, before we dive deeper, if you're enjoying this story so far, hit that subscribe button right now. It means the world to creators like me sharing these epic folk tales. And hey, drop a comment below. Where are you watching from? Is it the bustling vibes of New York, the sunny beaches of California, or maybe right here in Niger? Let's make this interactive. Emeka Okoro wasn't born with silver spoons. No, his were made of pure gold, but tarnished by the mud of his past. In the modern sprawl of Port Harcourt, where oil rigs dotted the horizon like giant metal birds, and the Niger Delta's rivers whispered ancient secrets, Emeka rose from the slums of Diobu to the penthouses of GRA Phase 2. He was a self-made man, or so the tabloid said, building an empire on tech startups, real estate, and shady deals that smelled worse than the creeks during low tide. But here's the twist. Emeka had a secret. He stank. Not just a little body odor from a long day. No, this was a deep, pervasive stench that clung to him like a curse from the ancestors. Doctors called it trimethylaminuria, a rare condition where his body couldn't break down certain compounds, making him smell like rotten fish mixed with garbage. But Emeka, he masked it with perfume, bottles upon bottles of the finest imports, Creed, Tom Ford, Chanel, layered on like armor. He was a dirty billionaire who used perfume to hide his strong odor, and oh, what a web of drama that wove. Our story starts not in the glamour of his boardrooms, but in the quiet hum of a local market on a Tuesday morning. Emeka, dressed in a crisp Armani suit that cost more than most people's annual salary, stepped out of his tinted Range Rover. The driver, a loyal fellow named Tunde, wrinkled his nose but said nothing. Emeka sprayed himself liberally with his signature scent, Aventus, before entering the fray. The market women hawked their wares, fresh tomatoes, yams, and fish from the Bonny River, but as Emeka passed, heads turned, not because of his wealth, but because of the cloud of fragrance that announced him like a royal fanfare. Oh, Bina, see this man, oh, whispered one vendor to another. He they smell like perfume factory, but I swear, something they underarm. Emeka ignored them, his eyes fixed on a small stall selling traditional herbs. He was here for a reason. Rumors of a herbalist who could cure his affliction. The herbalist, an old woman named Mama Nkechi, with wrinkles like the roots of an iroko tree, eyed him suspiciously. You come for cure, Abi? She said, her voice crackling like dry leaves. Emeka nodded, slipping her a wad of naira notes. Yes, Mama, this smell, it'll kill me softly. She cackled. Money no fit buy everything, Oga, but I go try. As she mixed potions of bitter leaves and strange roots, Emeka's mind wandered back to his childhood. Born in a one-room shack where the family shared a pit latrine with neighbors, he had always been the smelly boy. Kids teased him, teachers avoided him, and even his mother, bless her soul, would bathe him thrice a day to no avail. It fueled his drive to escape, to conquer, to bury the past under piles of cash. By age 25, he had his first million from coding apps that tracked oil shipments. By 30, billions from investments in fintech. But the odor, it persisted, a reminder that no matter how high he climbed, the dirt clung. Mama Nkechi handed him a vial. Drink this every night for 7 days, but remember the gods demand sacrifice. Emeka laughed it off, modern man that he was, but as he left, a young woman bumped into him. Her name was Adaora, a journalist with sharp eyes and a sharper tongue, working for the Port Harcourt Herald. She was investigating corruption in the oil sector, and Emeka's name kept popping up. Sorry, sir, she said, but her nose twitched. Under the perfume she caught it, a faint foul whiff. Emeka smiled, charm on full blast. No wahala, beautiful. What's your name? Adaora. And you? Emeka Okoro. Perhaps you've heard of me. Her eyes widened. Jackpot. But as they chatted, the drama began to brew. Little did Emeka know, Adaora would unravel his empire, his secrets, and his heart. Emeka drove back to his mansion in old GRA, the vial tucked in his pocket like a talisman. The house was a fortress of glass and steel, overlooking the waterfront where yachts bobbed lazily. Inside, his staff, maids, cooks, security, moved like ghosts, trained to ignore the underlying stench that no amount of air fresheners could fully erase. He sprayed more perfume, the bottle hissing like a serpent. That night, as rain pattered against the windows, Emeka drank the potion. It tasted like bile and regret, burning down his throat. He dreamed of his father, a fisherman who drowned in the polluted waters of the delta, his body never found. You can't wash away the river's curse, my son, the dream father said. Waking in a sweat, Emeka checked the mirror. No change, but something felt off. His skin tingled and the odor seemed stronger. Panic rising, he doused himself in cologne, the scent cloying in the humid air. Meanwhile, Adaora sat in her tiny apartment in Rumola, typing furiously on her laptop. She had snapped a photo of Emeka at the market, and now she dug deeper. Emeka Okoro, billionaire. Okoro, philanthropist or corrupt tycoon. Her article headline read, Rumors of bribes to government officials, environmental violations in his oil-linked ventures. But what intrigued her was the personal angle. Why did he always smell like a walking fragrance shop? Girl, you dey find trouble, her roommate Kioma warned. That man get connections. Adaora laughed. Nah, him go tire. The next day, Emeka's phone buzzed with alerts. Adaora's article was gaining traction online. Fury boiled in him, but so did curiosity. Who was this woman daring to challenge him? He called his PR guy, Victor. Handle this. Make her retract. But Victor hesitated. Boss, she get evidence. Maybe meet her. Charmam. Emeka agreed, setting up a chance encounter at a high society gala. Dressed in a tuxedo, perfume layered thick, he spotted Adaora in a red gown that hugged her curves like the curves of the Niger River. Miss Adaora, he said, extending a hand. We meet. Again, she smiled, but her eyes were still. Mr. Okoro, care to comment on my story? They danced, literally, on the floor and figuratively, with words. Emeka spun tales of his rags-to-riches life, emotional pleas about helping the poor. Adaora poked holes, demanding truth. Sparks flew, not just attraction, but conflict. As the night ended, Emeka leaned in. There's more to me than money and scandals. She pulled back, nose wrinkling slightly. And more than perfume, I bet. His heart skipped. Did she know? Back home, the potion's effects kicked in. Emeka vomited, the stench overwhelming. He realized Mama Nkechi's words. Sacrifice. What would he give up? Hey, if this emotional twist has you hooked, don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. And tell me in the comments, where are you tuning in from? Lagos, Abuja, or overseas? Days turned to weeks, and Emeka's condition worsened. The herbal potion amplified the odor, making his daily perfume rituals a battle. He cancelled meetings, working from home where ventilators hummed constantly. His empire cracked, stocks dipped as rumors spread. Adaora, relentless, followed leads. She interviewed ex-employees who whispered about the boss's smell and how it mirrored his dirty deals. One, a former accountant named Kelechi, met her in a seedy bar. He bribes everyone, Kelechi said, but the real dirt is in the delta. Oil spills he covers up, communities poisoned. Adaora's heart ached for the victims. She grew up in a village affected by such spills. Her father died from contaminated water. This was personal. Emeka, spying through private investigators, learned of her past. Guilt gnawed at him. For the first time, he questioned his path. He invited her to his mansion for an exclusive interview. Arriving, Adaora was stunned by the opulence and the heavy perfume air. Emeka, masked in scent, poured wine. "Let's talk truth," he said. She grilled him, tears in her eyes as she recounted her father's story. Emeka broke, admitting partial guilt. "I didn't know the extent." Lies mixed with truth. They shared a kiss, passionate and dramatic, but she pulled away. "You smell off." Humiliated, Emeka confessed his condition. Adaora's empathy surged. "It's not the odor, it's the lies." They parted, emotions raw. Emeka vowed change, but shadows loomed. Rival billionaires plotted his downfall. Emeka dove into philanthropy, donating to clean the Delta. But the odor persisted, a metaphor for his soul. Adaora helped, their romance blooming amid drama. One night, a storm hit Port Harcourt. Floods ravaged slums. Emeka rescued victims, his perfume washing away in rain, exposing the stench. People recoiled, but Adaora stood by him. "You're more than your smell," she said, tears mixing with rain. Emotional peak. Emeka proposed, but she hesitated. "Fix your past first." He confronted his rivals. A high-stakes meeting turning violent. Gunshots echoed, but he survived, scarred. Subscribe now for the full emotional roller coaster. Where are you watching from? Let me know. Emeka underwent surgery for his condition, but complications arose. Hospitalized, he reflected on life. Adaora visited, their love deepening. Meanwhile, investigations intensified. Police raided his offices. Betrayal from Victor, who leaked secrets. Dramatic escape. Emeka fled to the Delta, hiding in villages. There, he faced the people he harmed, begging forgiveness. Emotional scenes with elders, rituals to cleanse his curse. In the Delta mangroves, Emeka learned folk tales from locals. His odor symbolized greed. He helped rebuild, hands dirty with mud, literal and figurative. Adaora joined him, their bond tested by hardship. Entertaining adventures, evading authorities, romantic nights under stars. Twist. A child from his past affair appears, adding drama. Victor, now allied to rivals, plots kidnapping. Adaora taken. Emeka, stench, and all rescues her in a thrilling chase through city streets. Emotional reunion, vows of love. But the odor worsens. Surgery failed. He turns to spiritual healers. Hey, this action-packed part got your heart racing? Subscribe and drop your location in comments. Emeka's company crumbles, but he rebuilds ethically. Adaora's articles expose corruption, making her famous. Romantic tension. Marriage proposal accepted, but condition remains. Entertaining subplots. Friends like Tunde provide comic relief with Niger banter. Emeka finds a cure through experimental treatment abroad. Returns transformed, but past catches up. Trial for corruption. Dramatic courtroom scenes. Adaora testifies for him. Emotional verdict. Guilty but reformed. Community service. They marry in a grand yet humble ceremony. No perfume needed. Build family. Help community. Entertaining twists. Business revival with green tech. Subscribe if you're loving the redemption arc. Where from? Flashbacks to childhood. Deepening realism. Challenges. Relapse of condition. Testing marriage. Dramatic fights. Makeups. Emeka becomes legend in Port Harcourt. The billionaire who conquered his curse helps others with similar conditions. Emotional legacy. Children born, stories told. Years later, old Emeka tells the tale to grandchildren. Years had passed since the rain-soaked night when Emeka Okoro stood before his grandchildren, the scent of fresh river air replacing the heavy clouds of perfume that once defined him. The mansion in old GRA had been so long ago, traded for a modest compound in Rumwepiricom where the family could breathe freely. Emeka, now in his late 60s, walked with a slight limp from the old gunshot wound, a reminder of the night rivals tried to silence him forever. Adaora, his wife of 3 decades, still had that sharp journalist gaze, those silver threads now wove through her braids. Their children, 3 boys and a girl, had grown into their own lives. Chidi, the eldest, ran a clean energy startup focused on solar panels for Delta communities ravaged by oil spills. Neka, the daughter, taught environmental science at the University of Port Harcourt, her lectures filled with stories of her father's redemption. The younger twins, Ifeani and Kamsi, pursued law and medicine respectively, always quick to defend their father's name when old scandals resurfaced online. But it was the grandchildren who gathered most evenings under the mango tree in the backyard. Little Amara, only 8, loved the tales best. Grandpa, tell us again about the smell that chased you, she'd beg, eyes wide. Emeka chuckled, his voice gravelly but warm. Ah, my princess, that smell wasn't just a sickness. It was the river's way of reminding me I was polluting more than water. The family had turned Emeka's story into a quiet legend in Port Harcourt circles. People whispered about the billionaire who washed his soul. He had founded the Okoro, the foundation funding clinics for rare metabolic disorders like his own trimethylaminuria. Support groups met weekly where sufferers shared tips on diet, avoiding fish, eggs, and soy, and emotional coping strategies. Emeka spoke at conferences, his once hidden shame now a badge of survival. One evening, as thunder rumbled in the distance, echoing that fateful rain, a stranger appeared at the gate. A young man in his 20s, tall and nervous, clutching a faded photo. Tunde, now retired but still loyal, let him in. I'm sorry to disturb, the stranger said. My name is Obina. I think you're my father. The compound fell silent. Adaora's hand tightened on Emeka's arm. The photo showed a younger Emeka with a woman named Ezine, a brief flame from his wild 20s before Adaora. Obina had grown up in Bonny, raised by his mother who passed last year. She had told him the truth on her deathbed. Emeka stared, the old odor phantom staring in his mind, though long cured. Come inside, my son. Tears flowed that night, shock, joy, regret. Obina had known hardship, working odd jobs on the oil rigs, dreaming of more. Emeka felt the weight of years lost. I didn't know, he whispered, but now I do. Adaora, ever the rock, welcomed Obina without hesitation. Family is what we build, not just what we're born into. The drama unfolded over weeks. Obina moved in temporarily. Siblings met him warily at first, Chidi protective, Neka curious. But shared meals, stories of the Delta, and Emeka's honest confessions bridged gaps. Obina learned of the curse, the perfumes, the fall and rise. You hid from yourself, he said one night. I hid from who I was too. Emeka took Obina to the foundation clinic. Tests confirmed a mild genetic link. Obina carried the gene but showed no symptoms. The river spared you, Emeka joked, though his eyes glistened. Obina's arrival stirred old wounds. Adaora, though gracious, felt a pang of jealousy, not for love lost, but for time Emeka never shared with her own children. Late nights found her journaling, old reporter habits dying hard. One afternoon, a tabloid resurrected a scandal. Emeka Okoro's secret love child exposed. Photos of Obina at the gate circulated. Social media erupted. Trolls called Emeka a hypocrite, philanthropist with dirty secrets. Emeka retreated, the old shame creeping back. He avoided mirrors, fearing the ghost of odor. Adaora confronted him. You can't hide again. We face this together. They hosted a family meeting. Tears, shouts, forgiveness. Chidi hugged Obina. You're not replacing anyone, you're adding. Neka organized a Delta trip back to the mangroves where Emeka once hid. They boated through creeks, past oil-slicked waters, now cleaner thanks to foundation efforts. Elders welcomed them with kola nut and songs. One grandmother, Mama Ibifuro, pulled Emeka aside. The river forgave you because you listened. Now teach the boy. Obina learned to fish sustainably, hands in mud. He laughed with siblings, bonds forming. Romantic subplot emerged. Obina met Zara, a foundation volunteer from Yenagoa, kind and fierce. Their courtship brought lightness, stolen glances, Niger banter, but drama peaked when rivals, old enemies from Emeka's empire days, sent threats. Anonymous notes: the past isn't buried. Emeka feared for Obina. Hey, if this family drama has you emotional, subscribe for the next twists. And since you're in Port Harcourt like me, shout out to fellow Rivers State. Drop a comment. What's your favorite part so far? The threats escalated. A fire at the foundation office. Arson suspected. Police investigated, but leads went cold. Emeka suspected Victor, his former PR man turned rival, now running a competing NGO. Emeka and Adaora dug deep. Old files, contacts. Adaora's journalism skills shone. Interviews, leaks. They uncovered Victor's embezzlement from green funds. Confrontation at a Port Harcourt hotel. Victor sneered. You think redemption erases everything? Emeka, calm. No, but it changes what comes next. Police arrested Victor. Relief washed over the family. Obina, inspired, joined the foundation full time, focusing on youth empowerment in Bonny. Romantic high. Zara and Obina's engagement under the same mango tree. Emeka officiates the small ceremony. No perfume needed, just joy. Entertaining moment, family karaoke night. Chidi belted high life tunes. Kamsi danced awkwardly. Adaora teased Emeka's off-key singing. Emotional depth. Emeka visited his mother's grave in Diobu. Mama, I brought the family home. A new challenge. Emeka's health faltered. Heart issues from years of stress. Hospitalized, he reflected. Adaora stayed by his bed, reading old articles she'd written about him, some harsh, some loving. You were always more than the headlines. Children visited daily. Obina brought stories. From the Delta progress reports, new boreholes, scholarships. Emeka dreamed of the river again, but this time it cleansed, not cursed. Waking, he told Adaora, if I go, promise to keep telling the story. She laughed through tears. You're not going anywhere. Surgery succeeded. Recovery brought gratitude. Emeka started a memoir, The Scent of Redemption. Years advanced. Grandchildren multiplied. Amara, now a teen, wrote school essays on her grandfather's life. He taught me that dirt can grow flowers if you tend it right. The foundation expanded. Clinics in Lagos, Abuja. Emeka lectured internationally, his story inspiring others with rare conditions. Obina and Zara had twins, boy and girl, named after Emeka's parents. Family gatherings grew chaotic, joyful. Barbecues, music, debates on Niger politics. Twist, a documentary crew approached. The Dirty Billionaire's Legacy. Emeka agreed, but only if it highlighted the people helped, not just him. Filming in Port Harcourt, markets, creeks, homes, emotional scenes, survivors thanking Emeka. Subscribe if you're rooting for this redemption. Where are you watching from today? Emeka's health declined again. Age caught up. Family gathered. He told stories one last time, taught his tales mixed with his own. Remember, the river gives and takes. Give more than you take. Adaora held his hand. We did good, didn't we? Yes, my love. He passed peacefully, rain falling outside, like the beginning. Funeral was massive yet intimate. Thousands came. Poor from Delta, elite, sufferers he'd helped. Obina spoke. He wasn't perfect, but he washed clean.